She called it at 3 p.m. Not a confrontation. Not a fight. Just come over at 3. And when they walked in, my sister, her daughter, my mother, there was a binder on the table. 3 copies, spiral bound, tabbed. My sister laughed when she saw it short. That short, dismissive laugh she does when she's nervous but doesn't want you to know. I didn't laugh back. I just slid the first copy across the table and said quietly, 5 years. Page 1, and I watched the laughed eye on her face. But here's what I want you to understand. This wasn't the beginning of the story. This was the end of a very long patience. And to understand why I sat there that calm, that still, while my sister's hands started shaking holding those pages, you need to know what she did 4 days earlier. If you've ever been the person in your family who quietly holds everything together, who pays the bill, covers the gap, says it's fine so many times you start to believe it, this story is for you. If that's you, hit like before we go any further. And if you're new here, subscribe, because the people this channel is made for, they already know why. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. I turned 34 in Santa Fe at a restaurant I'd been saving toward for 2 months. That's not a complaint, that's just context. I run a pottery business. Small, mine, real. I built it from a corner of my apartment with a secondhand wheel, and about $400 I didn't really have. By last year, it was stable. Not rich, stable. And that word meant more to me than I can explain, because there was a long stretch in my 20s where stable felt like something other people got to have. I still wear mismatched earrings. Started doing it during the broke years. 1 gold, 1 silver, whatever I could find, and I never stopped. People ask about it sometimes. I never have a good answer. I just like that it's mine. So, the restaurant. White tablecloths, real bread, my closest friends around me. I was wearing a dress I'd borrowed the confidence to buy. My sister Dana was there too. That was, in retrospect, my first mistake, not in inviting her, but in hoping this time would feel different. Dana is 4 years older than me. We grew up in the same house, same parents, same starting line. But somewhere along the way, our paths split, and the gap between where we'd each landed became something she couldn't stop measuring. Halfway through dinner, she reached across the table, deliberately, without hurrying, and dumped the remnants of her plate into my lap. Napkins, citrus peel, sauce, cold and immediate and impossible to misread. Then she laughed, loud, performative. You finally look like what you are. The table went silent. I mean, completely silent. The kind where you can hear the restaurant around you like it's suddenly very far away. I looked down at my dress. Then I looked up, and I smiled. Not because anything was funny, but because smiling was the thing I'd always done, the lid on the pot. And in that moment, I felt something underneath the smile that wasn't anger. It was quieter than anger. It was done. My mother put her hand on Dana's arm and said, softly, that Dana had been feeling out of place and I shouldn't take it personally. I nodded. I picked up my fork. I finished dinner. What nobody at that table knew, including my friends, who knew me well, was that I had a folder on my laptop I'd been quietly updating for 4 years. Not obsessively, not out of spite, just carefully. The way you document things when some part of you knows. Eventually, you'll need to. Here's what was in it. Rent payments to Dana, 14 of them, spread across 2.5 years, ranging from $400 to $900 a month. All labeled temporary in our texts, all totaling just over $9,000. Utility bills, 7. Her electric, her gas, twice her internet. Another $1,200. Emergency cash, her word, not mine. The broken water heater, the vet bill, I just need to get through this week. Those added up to somewhere around $6,800 over 3 years. I know, because I wrote each one down. And then there was the car. 3 years ago, Dana needed reliable transportation. She had a job prospect, had briefly, and couldn't get there without a car. I bought one, outright, put it in my name, insured it under my policy, handed her the keys. The job prospect faded. The car stayed. She drove it every day. Her daughter Mia drove it to dance practice. My name was still on the title. Total, across everything, the folder showed just under $50,000. $47,800 and some dollars. Over 5 years. And she had never, not once, asked me how I was doing financially. Not once wondered aloud if any of it was a stretch. It simply arrived because I provided it, and it was absorbed. I want to be fair to Dana. because fairness matters to me more than making her a villain. She isn't cruel in the way that people plan cruelty. She's insecure in the way that quietly eats a person alive, watching me build something stable while she felt stuck. I think that became unbearable for her. And instead of climbing, she leaned. And instead of thanking me for the hand I kept extending, she started resenting that she needed it. That resentment came out sideways. Always sideways. There was the Christmas 2 years ago when she announced to the whole family table that my pottery was basically a glorified Etsy shop, and smiled when people laughed. There was the time I mentioned I'd hired an assistant, finally after years, and she said, "Oh, you're too good to do your own work now," in a tone she immediately dressed up as a joke. There was the casual, constant drumbeat of, "You think you're better than us? You always did." Said lightly, said often, said in front of people so I couldn't respond without looking like I was overreacting. And I didn't respond, because I was the one who kept the peace. That was my role in this family. The one who smooths it over, who doesn't make it worse, who smiles and says it's fine and means please don't make this a thing. I'd been playing that role for 34 years. The morning after my birthday, I opened Instagram before I was fully awake. And there it was. Mia had posted a photo of me. From dinner. The moment after. My dress, the stain, my expression. That frozen second before I recovered and smiled. The caption was mocking. I won't repeat it exactly. But it was designed to humiliate, and it did. Dana had commented laughing emojis, 3 of them. I put my phone down on the nightstand. I lay there for a moment, staring at the ceiling. Then I got up, opened my laptop, and pulled up the folder. I want you to notice that I didn't post anything, didn't call anyone, didn't send a furious text. I just started making a list. The credit card Dana was linked to, the one I'd added her to temporarily, 2 years ago, that she still used for groceries and occasionally clothing. I removed her from it that morning, quietly, online. Done in 4 minutes, the automatic transfer I'd set up to cover her portion of a shared phone plan. Canceled. The car insurance still running under my policy. I made a call. And then I arranged for the car to be picked up. Legally. It was mine, my name met. My title, my insurance. I had every right. I scheduled the tow for a Tuesday afternoon while Mia was at dance practice. Then I texted Dana, Mia, and my mother. Come over at 3. Just that, no explanation. I left the space open, and I let them fill it with whatever they wanted to imagine. I printed 3 copies of the folder, tabbed them, organized them chronologically, set them on my coffee table, and I waited. Mia called at 2:17, panicked. The car wasn't where she'd parked it. Was it stolen? Did she have the right spot? Her voice was climbing. It wasn't stolen, I said. I had it picked up. Silence. That's my car, she said. It's in my name. I said I have the title. She started crying, told me I was being unfair, that she had nothing to do with what her mother did, that she needed it for work, that this wasn't right. And here's the moment I need to tell you about honestly. I hesitated. Not long. Maybe 15 seconds of real doubt, standing in my kitchen with the phone pressed to my ear, listening to a 19-year-old cry. I thought, am I punishing her for something her mother did? I thought, am I becoming the cold one, the one who cuts people off? And then I remembered sitting in a restaurant in my nicest dress, looking down at food in my lap, while my family laughed. And I remembered that the photo was still up. You can come at 3 with your mom, I said. We'll talk then. I hung up. My hands weren't shaking. They arrived together. My mother, too, tense already in mediator mode before she'd even sat down. I didn't offer drinks. I gestured to the binders. Take a minute with page 1, I said. Dana picked it up like it might be a mistake, like she was about to find a reason to laugh it off. She didn't find one. The first tab, rent payments. Dates, amounts, text confirmations. The second, utilities, receipts, bank records. The third, the emergency cash, her own words from her own texts, printed alongside the transfers. The fourth, the car, purchase receipt, title, insurance history, all of it in my name for 3 years. Dana said I was exaggerating, that it couldn't possibly add up to what I was saying. I turned to the summary page, $47,840, over 5 years. She opened her mouth. She closed it. My mother said quietly, that family doesn't keep score. I know, I said. I never wanted to, but I had to. Mia pushed for the car, said she'd pay me back, said she'd fix everything, said she'd talk to her mother about the post. I slid the title across the table. Her name wasn't on it. The room went very quiet. Dana threatened legal action. She said it loudly, then less loudly, and by the time she'd said it a third time, she was looking at the binder again, and I think she understood that a lawyer would tell her the same thing I just had. The threat faded mid-sentence, and then something shifted. Dana set the binder down, and she said, not to me, almost to the table, that she'd felt stuck for years, watching me build a life, watching me get stable. She said it made her feel left behind, like the distance between us was my fault somehow. Like my succeeding was something I was doing to her. I heard that. I understood it, even. But understanding it didn't change anything. I'm not cutting you off, I said. I'm stopping the part that was making it easier for nothing to change. I put together some resources, budget templates, 2 job contacts, real ones in her field. I told them Mia's college fund was untouched. That was never part of this. But the transfers were done. The card was done. The card was gone. My mother didn't say much after that. Nobody did. Here's what I've come to understand since that afternoon. I wasn't the problem, but I was the system that made the problem comfortable. Every payment I made without asking questions, every insult I smiled through, every time I prioritized the peace over my own dignity, I was teaching people how to treat me. And the cruelest thing about being the one who holds a family together is that the moment you stop, everyone calls it abandonment. It isn't. Sometimes the most generous thing you can do for someone is refuse to carry them any further. I want to ask you something before you go, and I mean this genuinely. Have you ever done something generous for someone repeatedly, and then been made to feel like you were the problem for eventually having a limit? Tell me in the comments, because I know I'm not the only one who sat at a table smiling while something inside them quietly said, enough. If this story hit something real for you, like it, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're not subscribed, now's the time. New story dropping soon. See you there.